Hi, welcome. My name is Jess. In today's video, we are going to be making some different banana recipes. I have been craving like banana bread, and it has led me down the rabbit hole of recipes that you can make when you are craving banana bread. So I'm going to do my classic banana bread recipe. I use the Tasty 101 banana bread. I do use freshly milled flour, so I do it a little bit different. I will link it below and tell you what I do differently. I don't put chocolate chips in mine. I do add walnuts, so just a couple variances. But I am also going to be making banana bread cookies at some point this week, and I'm very excited about what those are going to taste like. I've never had anything like that, and like I said, this is just craving banana bread has led me down the path of wondering what desserts are out there using bananas for like having that banana bread, you know, taste. I'm gonna go ahead and make my banana bread, and I'm actually going to put some of it in the freezer so that I can have, you know, be able to pull it out. And then also with the chocolate chip cookies, and then the final dessert that I'm gonna keep secret till the end. So the banana bread recipe that I'm using calls for 3 bananas. I do wish my bananas were a little bit more ripe than they are. I mean, they're getting pretty close, so I don't mind using them, but I do tend to like my bananas a little bit more ripe than this. But we're just gonna mash these up. And you can do this in the mixer. I was just trying to, I don't know, I guess do it by hand today. I don't know why I am not pulling. I guess I just don't feel like pulling the mixer out and washing it. And there are days like that. So we're just gonna hand mix this. I'm so excited that it's kind of becoming that time of year where you're doing like pumpkin stuff and just like, you know, breads and cookies and just, I guess, going into the burr months. I just, quite frankly, really enjoy it. So I like the cooking, I like the clothes that come in the fall. Overall, I just really enjoy winter months. I mean, I think everybody loves like sunshine in the summer, but I definitely prefer fall and winter. Okay, I'm just going to put my, actually, it's been a while since I made this. I probably should look and see when. Yeah, go ahead and put the bananas in here, and then we'll put 1/3 cup of melted butter and just mix it up. One thing I do wish about this recipe is that it was written in grams. I do prefer cooking like in grams, but I mean, to be honest, it's fine. I mean, I've never had this turn out badly. Gonna mix this melted butter in here. And I did go ahead and empty my dishwasher so that I could easily put everything that I'm using into the dishwasher. And I'm gonna get my silicone spatula. I actually don't care for using metal utensils in my bowls. I think I said my spatula, I meant my whisk, my silicone whisk. This thing is amazing. I love this thing so much. I really should buy another one. I will link it below. I just got off Amazon. I think it's OXO. No, it's Rosalie, R-O-S-L-E, Rosalie. But anyway, it is my favorite. I used to make this so much that I didn't even have to look at it. You just add everything else in there. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and whisk my egg and get that in there. I also decided to put my Nightmare Before Christmas apron on because this is my new Lululemon sweatshirt, and I can't tell you how many times I've been doing something like this and oil splatters on a brand new sweatshirt. So we put the apron on. 1/2 cup of sugar. I think I'm actually gonna use some coconut sugar. I might do some regular sugar, but coconut sugar has a little bit lower glycemic index, and I think you can't really tell when you're baking breads like this. So I think I'm gonna use mostly that. And then I'll do a little bit of like granulated sugar, but still using, you know, the 1/2 cup of sugar. Actually, I think I'm gonna do a little less than 1/2 cup. I'm not like anti-sugar. I just try, I don't know. Sugar's a hard one for me because I know that it's obviously not the best for you, but I think that I'm just not the person that's gonna cut everything sweet out of my life, you know. But I think that you can make the best choice possible. And like with this, coconut sugar is not gonna make a difference in this bread. So I'm just gonna use that, or mostly that. Okay, some vanilla. Throw in a teaspoon of vanilla, and I actually need to get a little bit more vanilla. I'm just eyeballing it. I actually need to pick up nutmeg. I need to write that down on a list. So we've done the bananas, the butter, the sugar, the egg, vanilla. I need a teaspoon of baking soda and some salt. And then I'm gonna do maybe 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. It smells so good. I also think I'm gonna add a little bit of cinnamon, and if I have some nutmeg powder, I might add it in here. I'm just gonna look and see what I have. I do not have any nutmeg, not even the powder, so I'm just gonna add I don't know, 1/2 a teaspoon of cinnamon. And then I'm also gonna add a little bit of my, if I can open it. Oh, yeah, there we go. Sourdough starter. I've done this before in other videos where if it's time to feed it, or if I'm making some type of bread or something like that, I'll just throw some of the discard in there for the added benefits. So that's what I'm gonna do. Totally optional. And then I will feed this. I think I'll get a new spoon to feed it, because I don't know if I may have gotten some cinnamon on this, and I don't want that in my starter. I'm just gonna get this good and mixed. And then the last thing will be the walnuts and the actual flour.
Is this the last time I can see you in a while? Is it the truth that you'll be living tonight? We should take a walk, then a swim in the sea. That will mean everything, yeah, everything to me. Can we get out of this one? Waiting and missing. I never thought you would leave me here. We can get out of this one.
So really quickly, when I am getting a pan ready like this, I crumple my paper and go ahead and put it in, but then I will take the same size pan and push it down, and I can either leave it there to, you know, let it kind of take that shape, or you can go ahead and pull it out. But all it does is just kind of, I don't know, I just think it makes it like fit in the pan a lot easier. So I just wanted to share that. I'm just gonna let that sit here and get good and in shape in there. So this has been sitting for about 20 minutes. I did sprinkle a little bit of the Jacobsen coarse sea salt on top. I have been doing that to my cookies and breads like this, and I really like it. But I'm gonna bake this for about 50 minutes at 350 until my tester comes out clean. So this actually baked for about 45 minutes until the, whatever this thing's called, cake tester, until the cake tester came out clean, and I did check it in a couple places. So I'm just gonna let this cool and then we'll cut into it. Okay, here it is. I'm gonna sit down. It's still smoking. I did not let it cool as long as I should because I really want to taste it and I'm kind of hungry. So I tasted a little bit and it is delicious. So I'm gonna let this cool completely, and then I'm gonna put probably half the loaf in the freezer. I wrapped up about half of the loaf with saran wrap and then put it in a Ziploc bag, and I'm gonna throw it in the freezer. And when I pull it out, I just try to pull it out about 30 minutes to an hour before I want to heat it up, and I just throw it in the oven or the microwave and heat it up, and it works great. So I wanted to show you quickly my September Antique Candle Company subscription box came. I did actually upgrade to the deluxe because just for the holidays, I'm gonna go back to the 2 candles as soon as the holidays are over, but I like the holiday stuff so much I decided that I wanted to upgrade to the deluxe box like I said, just for the holidays. You do get like, it's just like a little postcard kind of going over their stuff. But this box, and I did really want to show this because of what I actually did. So as you can see, fall harvest, pumpkin apple, and then I actually got another pumpkin apple. So one thing I really, really like about the boxes is you can, if there's one you don't really like or you don't want to try, they give you options to, you know, exchange it or replace, like do a different candle that you're more interested in. And I actually did the Cozy Cabin. That is what was supposed to come in the deluxe box. So it's gonna be fall harvest, pumpkin apple, Cozy Cabin, and then the sweet orange and clove. I have already used fall harvest and pumpkin apple, love them both. Cozy Cabin I did get a little trial size of because I had heard that you couldn't really smell it, and to be honest, you really can't. So I was able to try that out and decided I wanted to exchange it for pumpkin, like get 2 pumpkin apples. And I'm actually going to give one of these to my mom. She does the 2 candle subscription box, and pumpkin apple was not one that you could do for that one. So she got fall harvest. I think she ended up getting spice cake, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly. And then I'm gonna surprise her with a pumpkin apple because she loves that one a lot. And then we also got the sweet orange and clove. I will light this one up and try it. I guess I could smell it really quickly if I can open it. Ew, that smells nice. I mean, it smells like orange and clove. So that one will be fun to burn and try. It's definitely getting into more of like the holiday scents, I think. Like November, December scent. Yeah, that one's pretty nice. And then you get like a little gift, I guess, some of their safety matches. I've never used them, but I guess this was just what comes in the deluxe. So like I said, I'm only doing it for the holiday months because I want the holiday smells. So that's what we're gonna do. But I will keep showing you, as I get them. Like I said, not sponsored, just personally really like these candles. So I also wanted to show you that they usually give like a little hint of what the next month subscription box is going to be. And this says coming up next month, from falling leaves to frosty mornings. It's just fun. Let's be real, that's just fun. I can't wait. Here we are, day 2, making the banana bread chocolate chip cookies. I'm actually surprised. This recipe only calls for 1/4 of a cup of mashed bananas. Kind of shocked with it being a banana bread chocolate chip cookie recipe, but we're just gonna follow it the way it says and see how it turns out. Basically, I'm just going to mash this, mix it with 1/2 cup of melted butter, and then 1 cup of packed brown sugar, and that's kind of just the first step that it calls for. I did preheat my oven though to 350. I don't honestly remember how long it cooks, but I do know it's supposed to be at 350, so at least that part we have heating up. All right, that's pretty good and mashed. I think I may have to mash a little bit more. Gosh, this just does not seem like a lot of banana. Well, I guess it's more than I think. Okay, that's only like 1/8 of a cup what I mashed. So I guess it will be a little bit more than, it calls for 1 small banana. And then it says if you have more, obviously just discard it. Also, it does call for a pretty ripe banana. I mean, mine could be riper. Same thing with my banana bread that I made, not yesterday, I guess 2 days ago. It could have been much riper, but you work with what you have. This will be fine. It's ripe enough. All right, so we will add the 1/4 of a cup of mashed banana. See if I can get it out of here. I'm just gonna use my finger. It's fine. They're clean. Now this recipe said that you could use 1/2 cup of oil or 1/2 cup of butter. I just think the butter is gonna work better. So that's what we're going with. I mean, if you're gonna have a cookie, just, have a cookie. All right, 1 cup of packed brown sugar. And it just says to mix this up. Okay, just gonna show you. gonna kind of show you what that's looking like. Then it says to add 1 egg yolk. I'm gonna put the egg white in here and throw it in the fridge, and that way I'll have it to add to my eggs tomorrow. Don't wanna waste the egg white. I am not the best at this, so we're gonna see if I can do it. That's exciting. I did that right. Just plop it right in there. Then a teaspoon of vanilla extract. I never measure my vanilla. I just kind of eyeball it. I am such a huge fan of vanilla. I tend to probably put more than I'm supposed to. All right, we're just gonna make sure that is very well mixed, because the next step is to add the flour. Okay, so the next part when we add flour, it calls for 1 cup and 1/3 cup of all-purpose flour. I'm going to do 2/3 cup, or I'm gonna try to do 2/3 cup of soft white wheat, and 2/3 cup of all-purpose flour, so a 50-50 split. It's not an exact science because it's not doing it in like grams, so I can't measure it like that. But you roughly can put about half of the berries. You can put about half of the berries into the mill, and it'll produce about twice of the actual flour. But I'm gonna do 1/3 cup of the soft white wheat to hopefully render 2/3 cup of the actual flour. So we'll see how this goes. So that definitely made more than the 2/3. I just wanted to pop in here quickly and say, once I was watching this back, editing, I realized I actually milled 2/3 cups of berries. So I don't know what I was thinking. I should have only milled 1 cup, but I did do 2, and so that is why it produced so much more. I think the equation where if you want, you know, a 1/2 cup of flour, then you do 1/4 cup of berries is pretty, you know, decent. I did want to explain why there was so much flour produced, and at the time I was like, what in the world, like, why is it doing like this? But I just forgot, I guess, that I went ahead and did, you know, whole extra scoop of what I meant to mill. So that is why it produced so much. Just wanted to pop in and explain that. And I'm just gonna put the discard of this in the freezer so that it doesn't lose its nutritional value. Actually, I'm just gonna go ahead and use another. I'm gonna do 1 full cup of freshly milled flour because I have enough of it. And then I will just do 1/3 cup of all-purpose flour. I tell you, I just change things up as I go. It's just what I do. All right, so here's the all-purpose flour. And I actually had someone ask me about these containers. I got these containers from Walmart. They are my favorite, to be totally honest. They are, I'll try to link it below. It's just the Mainstay container. I think it's 21 cup if I remember correctly. But it has like the little scoop on top. So if you're scooping in, you can kind of do it flat or pull it off, whatever you want. It's, like I said, my absolute favorite. My mom found these years ago and she's been using them for years. I've been using them for years. And they just work out really, really well, to be totally honest. Okay, so that is 1 1/3 cup of flour. 1 cup of freshly milled flour, and then 1/3 cup of all-purpose flour. Then the recipe called for baking soda, salt, and cinnamon. I added just a splash of dried ginger because I really like ginger in banana bread. So I added that in there, and then I'm gonna grate a little bit of nutmeg in here as well. I finally got to the store and actually got some nutmeg. I just am gonna eyeball it. I just do kind of what I feel. Nutmeg can be kind of strong. All right, that's probably about a teaspoon. Whoop, oh no. I don't know what I can do about that. Probably why you shouldn't. Maybe if I just grind it on that side. All right, that's good. That's about 1/4 of a teaspoon of nutmeg, I would think. All right, I'm gonna get this good and mixed. Let it sit for just a few minutes to hopefully let some of that flour soak up some of the liquid in here. And then I will get these on the tray and get them baked and let you know. Oh, duh. I have to throw the chocolate chips in here. I mean, what is chocolate chip banana bread cookies if you don't have the chocolate chips in here. So I'm gonna get these in there.
Yeah. We can get out of this one. A tunnel of feelings, and just like we got through everything else. But I see you, honey. This is in no way funny. We will find our way back together. But right now, there's stormy weather.
Alright, so I'm taking my biggest cutter and I'm going to try. They're pretty big, but I'm going to try to do the, sorry, I was trying to look at what I was doing, the circling them up type thing. Oh, that looks nice. Let's see if I can do it with some of these that are way bigger. Let's see if I can do it through the lens. This is my absolute biggest ring too. Okay, that's working. They definitely spread out a lot. And it did say that the batter was going to be wet, and my batter was not. I think I'm just gonna leave those two big ones the way they are, because I don't think I'll be able to do it. I'll try without using the camera. But the batter said it was gonna be really wet, and my batter was not really wet. And it did spread a lot, but they said they were chewy, so this is how they came out. I will taste them in a minute and see how they are. Also, this is the cookie cutter, the round stainless steel cookie cutters that I got. I can't remember how much it was, but it wasn't super expensive. I just got off of Amazon. I'll link it. But as you can see, it's just several different sizes, so works out well. Okay, I just tasted one of these and they turned out delicious. Like 10 out of 10. They look gnarly, I'm not gonna lie, but they taste so good. I cannot wait to have one of these or two of these with some milk tonight for dessert. I mean, delicious. I honestly cannot get over how much they taste like banana bread. Like, I'm a huge fan of banana bread, and then one of my favorite things is a chocolate chip cookie, and to have the two meshed together, it's insane. Like, these are 10 out of 10 for me personally. I think they're so good. I just want to show the cookies for the banana bread chocolate chip cookies, where I put them in the freezer bag and put the time and everything like that. I'm gonna test one really quickly and see if it really is like from frozen, the 350 for 11 minutes like the recipe calls for when they're, you know, they were just made. But just FYI, I didn't make as many cookies as like a lot of recipes do, so a little bit smaller, but these are pretty big cookies too, so maybe that's why. Anyway, gonna test it. It looks like the inside isn't quite cooked, but the outside is starting to maybe like melt away a little bit. I think this was one that would do well for maybe cooking at 325 for like 13 minutes. And that way it doesn't cook quite so hot, so that the edges get done before the middle. Looking at this cookie, I do think that a little bit lower temperature and for a little bit longer would have been good. But honestly, I mean, once you actually touch it, it did pretty well. So I don't know if it really needs that much altering. I at least wanted to show. For my third recipe, I tried banana fritters. Now, I've had apple fritters, I've had corn fritters before, but I've never had banana fritters, so I was pretty interested when I came across this recipe, just interested in what it was going to taste like. It did call for 4 really ripe bananas, so I just mashed those up quickly and got them into a measuring cup. Now, this measuring cup's from Pampered Chef. You're able to put the ingredients into the measuring side and then push them out. I remember my mom having one of these when I was younger, and I always thought it was just so cool. So once I started baking a lot more, my mom actually gave me one for Christmas, and it's just been really nice and convenient to have. But the recipe calls for 1.5 cups of mashed bananas, and then you're going to add your sugar and your salt and mix that really, really well. You will want to add your baking powder and the first half of your all-purpose flour, and I just added those together and then mixed that before I poured it into the banana mixture. And this recipe is actually written where you use part whole wheat flour and part all-purpose flour. I just use soft white wheat, freshly milled, and then obviously the all-purpose. Then you're gonna add some vanilla and nutmeg, and your dough is pretty much finished. It did call for it to set aside for about 10 minutes just to let it rest. Overall, it was really an extremely easy recipe, to be honest. And I actually decided to try cooking it 2 different ways. I cooked half the dough in the air fryer, and then the other half I fried it in oil. I just used avocado oil, and I did it in kind of a shallow pan so that I didn't have to use a ton of oil, even though I could only do 3 at a time. But I just wanted to see if they would come out differently. For the oil, I did test one to make sure it was bubbling, and then I just used a cookie scoop and scooped the dough right into the oil, and I let it cook for about 4 to 5 minutes, flipping halfway through. You can kind of tell when it's starting to get dark, and, and it needs to flip and things like that. But as for the air fryer, I cooked at 360 for 8 minutes and then flipped them and cooked another 2 minutes. I do think next time I'm going to cook them for 5 minutes, flip them, and then cook them for another 5 minutes on the other side. However, surprisingly, the air fryer banana fritters turned out just as good as the ones that we actually fried. I was kind of surprised because the ones that were fried in the oil looked so much better, but I didn't think they actually tasted that different. Now, there was a little bit more of a crunch factor, and yes, it was a little bit better, but honestly, the difference wasn't as big as I thought it was going to be. The outside of the fried ones, like I said, was a little bit crispier, but they just looked better, if I'm being honest. So if I was ever going to do these for people, I would definitely fry them. I will also say that once we put them up for the next day, I don't think the ones that we fried held up as well. They just kind of were a little bit mushier. They didn't hold their crisp, whereas the ones that were in the air fryer tasted honestly kind of like a donut, to be honest. Like that's what it tastes like the next day.
Hello, Ramona. I can't shake the simplest feeling beyond the ghost. We stand on the opposite shore. Hello, Ramona. I reached through.
Then my sister and I decided that we were going to try them with some different butters. So we did like a pumpkin butter, a homemade apple butter, and then just some honey. I think powdered sugar would have been great. I did not have any powdered sugar, so those were the 3 that we went with. So we tried both the air fried and the oil fried with all 3. My favorite personally was the apple butter. I think my sister was probably the pumpkin butter. But once you added a little bit of that on there, I mean, if I make these going forward, I'm going to make the air fryer ones for, my regular day. But if I had people over, I probably would fry them. Honestly, I was happy with all 3 recipes this week. I thought the banana bread was perfect. It wasn't too sweet and it froze perfectly. The banana bread chocolate chip cookies were so unique. I've never tasted anything like them, and I really do highly recommend those. And then finally, the banana fritters were so interesting. It was just an interesting twist on a banana bread, so that was enjoyable as well. I will link all the recipes below. Also, please consider subscribing if you want to get notified for next week's video. We're actually going to be testing pumpkin foods, so really looking forward to that.
Hello,